Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in, members of the Duval. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game, and we are honored, joined, and privileged to bring you in the first edition of one of our instant reactions, Duval Dive Live style here. Duval Dive Live. That's fun to say. I wish it was a happier occasion for the Duval Devout. The final score, of course, of the contest there in the shootout at South Beach, as I dubbed it, which it didn't really turn out to be, apparently, 20-17. Listen, it's very interesting how long this group kicked Tyreek Hill handcuffed throughout the game, and nonetheless, he was end up being released by the Finns later on there. Yes, I'm doing all the jokes I can. If somebody can do a celebration inspired by that, I can make those dad jokes. But listen, the best I can do is bring dad jokes and humor for what might be a sports therapy session for the Duval Devout after opening week one with such a close affair going the wrong way. But nonetheless, I'm going to bring in my personal champion, the man with the plan who made me feel really smart looking at some of the stuff happening in defensive back play in the first part of the game. Travis D. Holmes, what's going on today?
Not a great day.
Yeah.
Not a great day. And I think that's an understatement, but we're going to get into it, man.
Well, and so let's get right into this part here. Here's kind of the element that I see working at play here. And granted, as the air quotes non-fan in the room, I saw a lot good that happened. There was plenty that wasn't.
Sure.
Well, plenty of time to uncork that. But walking away, seeing this defensive line, for example, with 3 sacks, 1 from your new defensive tackle, a lot of things that won't make the stat sheet in terms of pressure in the form of countless holding calls that the Dolphins were busted for to take them out of the situation. A lot of opportunities to the very dangerous and MVP caliber looking player, Tyreek Hill. A lot of opportunities to hit him that Tua could not connect on because he was under pressure. And listen, credit where credit's due. Mostly us, you and I as analysts, we knew that if they were going to try to blow things open, it would probably be with Waddle. And the ability to keep big plays from happening to Tyreek Hill, again, kept to a minimum. I know it's tough to say, seeing an 80-yard bomb come after another unfortunate Jaguar mistake. Again, more on that later. We'll get to it. Trust me. That's even going to be brought up in my Fans First Sports Network article I'll have on the topic, a series I'm calling The Good, the Bad, and the Spotty, because it's the Jaguars, right? See, you like that?
I would like it most days, not today, but I got you.
Yeah. You're feeling the dad joke. You see, you still cracked a smile. That means it's working. No, listen, I would have preferred a win for the good, the bad, and the spotty to debut as well, but unfortunately we won't have that here. But and as far as that, more good in Tank Bigsby running the football, real good actually, in a fashion that that wasn't expected. Had some big things getting the Jags out of deep territory, and most importantly, being the running back that held onto the ball. More on that later. But Travis, what was your favorite thing that you saw in the game that actually did go well for the Jags? They were up 17-7 at the half, so something had been going right at some point.
No, man. The thing that went well for the Jaguars was the first half. It went exactly as you wanted the whole game to go. And even if I weren't just to say the first half, honestly, the whole game for the defense. I want to be clear in saying this. The defense played a great game. The defense played the game that you expect to play against this Miami Dolphins. This is the NFL. You don't expect the whole team to 0 points. You don't expect to shut teams out, especially not this offense. We cannot have the discussions that we had this upcoming week coming into this game and talking about this offense and the scheme and the coaches and all of these players, and then think you're going to hold them to 0 points or to 10 points. The fact that they even held them to 20 points says enough about the performance of Ryan Nielsen and this Jaguars defense. They did their job, and I know they'll never say it out loud, but they have to be feeling some kind of way because that's rough. That's rough. It's a rough loss.
I'll add this quick stat too, Travis. Held what could be argued the most explosive NFL offense to 7 points for 43 minutes of action. Travis, that's you can't ask for more, in my opinion, from the defense. I completely agree. Sure, there was a mistake or two. For example, I think it was back-to-back defensive line penalties. One, the roughing the passer on Josh Hines-Allen, followed by an offsides call on Javon Walker. But they still got the stop later on on turnover on downs. So I think there was too much of an element maybe in the first part of this game with this team living dangerously. I mean, you can't exactly love opening your season with a 13-yard sack to former Jaguar Calais Campbell, though on the Inside Leverage podcast, I did mention that could be a factor if they bring Calais inside, which exactly they did.
Right.
So, I mean, from where I sit, the defense was certainly the high point. How about BTJ and Cam Little, though? Let's give the rookies some credit being a big part of getting that halftime lead. You open your career as a kicker in the NFL hitting a 53-yarder. You're doing your job. Your first advancement of the football being like about 50 yards in penalty yardage, make Jalen Ramsey, former Jaguar and loudmouth, look bad. Ain't a losing day for you as a rookie, and BTJ, of course, making his impact all over the route tree. His first touchdown, of course, being in the red zone there as a Jaguar, second Jaguar to score in 2024. So I'm sure, you know, we don't need to build on BTJ's performance. I doubt you have too much to add with that good. But listen, you look like a man who needs therapy. Lead me with this, my friend. It starts with Travis Etienne, where you need therapy today, I assume.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't have a great game running the ball, and that's not me saying that in comparison to Tank Bixby. I mean, I just want to say, like, he found a few holes early on, but overall, he didn't have a really good game. And then when you finally start seeing him getting comfortable, opening up, and, you know, maybe getting those a little bit more explosive runs, then the fumble. And it's just like, dang it, man. And honestly, it's really reminiscent of that his sophomore season fumble against the New York Giants. And the Jaguars lost that game. And you're heading into the end zone, you fumble the ball, you lose that game in a close matchup. It's eerily similar. And unfortunately, that is the difference in this game. Like, this is not a game when you put it on Trevor Lawrence, even though it's going to go in that category of Trevor Lawrence he failed to, you know, achieve greatness or generational status and will the team to victory or whatever else the people want to say. But
yeah, let's address that ridiculousnknow real quick since you brought it up, because, you know, people be saying crazy things sometimes, and that certainly falls into that category. I know, I'll put it this way. You and I both said it earlier in the week on the Duval Dive podcast. They weren't planning to be a pass first offense in this game. Now, granted, you were talking about 175 yards running. I think that was tall, but hey, we appreciate all the people that saw it on the Duval YouTube channel.
I said that's the goal. And I think and even today, if they would have rushed for that 175 yards, I mean, they were at 128. If they would have rushed for that 175 yards, they would have won. I still stand by that. That's a 50-yard difference in this game.
I won't disagree with it necessarily. I mean, 175 yards rushing would have led to a win. I'm not going to be so rude as to say, duh, but, you know, there's just too many other moments and miscues that I felt like this offense had. And again, you coming out as a Jaguar team and turning the game around with a 14-point swing. And listen, credit to Dolphin coach Mike McDaniel coming out and saying, hey, we're going to sling this beast while we're about to get the momentum back. Great play call. And listen, I mentioned earlier, 182 yards of offense, Travis Holmes, came from 3 plays. More than half of the passing yards, Travis, came from 63 to Jalen Waddle, which he was going to get 1 or 2 in there. You know, you can only cover so much field with these guys. Credit to the Dolphins massively. Achane with a 39-yarder, and of course, the 80-yard bomb to Tyreek. Listen, that's
explosive. We knew that walking into the game. They are explosive. And that's the problem with this team. You can win 99, or not 99, but whatever, 98% of the snaps, and you can still lose because of the 3 snaps that happen in the 100 snap game or whatever.
I had them scoring over 30. You had them scoring 28.
Well, I expected there to be more bust in the defense, and that's just because it's the first week of a new season, a new defensive scheme, a lot of rotation with the defense, which we did see a lot of rotation with the secondary, with the linebackers, and even with the defensive front. So I thought there would be more bust, and frankly, there weren't. And that's again a tip of the cap to Ryan Nielsen. It took me to halftime to come to the conclusion that I wasn't seeing things. Like legitimately. It was all right. Halftime, I started trusting, like, okay, so this is really
Pessimist,
what it is.
pessimist Travis stayed in the building, or hard.
No, that's not pessimist Travis. That's just me and just in
Travis,
general, man.
I should say.
Yeah. That's just
I
I need to see it and see it for long enough to believe it.
I haven't found the right adjective to account for like there's everything has such a negative connotation, pessimist, skeptical, like, but I don't think either of those are fair to
Yeah,
you.
skeptical. I thought skeptical is fine. You gotta show me. That's fine.
So
Yeah, show
skeptical
me.
Travis was in the building, and listen, I even said I was actually messaging with my friend Eric Lopez, who I had on the Student of the Game podcast to preview the AFC East. I even texted him during this game saying, if they get the stop here after that turnover, then this defense will be proven. And then that 80-yarder happened. So yeah.
That sucks because the 80-yarder is the same general concept that they had on the earlier play, on the earlier the Jalen Waddle touchdown. It's not a touchdown. The Jalen Waddle like 60. Same concept, same situation where they know you're going to be in cover 4 and you run it across the field and you know the guy you're going to have in coverage and just whether or not you can outrun him. And that's just one of those situations where I know, Ryan Nielsen, what you're going to run. I know the weaknesses of that, and I think I have a faster or a better guy at running my route than you have in coverage.
Oh, with this
let's see what happens.
With this offense, we know they faster. Like that's
what I mean. Again, Waddle is a 4.3 guy. So is Ronald Darby 8 years ago. So,
right.
This sucks, but yeah, it is what it is.
Well, and if you're then listen, you're a DB. Like if you're caught in a place reacting at high speed, you're still a little bit at a disadvantage, right? You have to still make that reaction when somebody's already moving and knowing where the play is going. That's the one advantage. Like if every play was a computer simulation, the offense would win by a needle every time, just because they had that slight advantage of one beat ahead in tempo because they set the tempo, and knowing where the play is going where the defense doesn't, and that's really
but this drives me nuts because there are so many damn ways that this offense could have helped that defense out a lot. And honestly, there's even some ways that the defense could have done better too. Let me be clear, they could have absolutely shut out Miami, but again, I'm just being realistic. This to me felt like coaching staff had some opportunities, but I don't think it like anything that was like a massive failure as far as the way that they call plays, the way that they ran the ball. Like, I think they just needed to do better. Again, Travis Etienne taking what's there, reading the blocks, picking up yards, not fumbling the ball.
I think that's this one, right?
That's the big. I mean, it's obviously the biggest one. There was one turnover in the game, and it was a 14-point swing, essentially. Or it worked out to be a 14-point swing. In a game, you lose by 3. That's pretty much it. Because at the time, the Dolphins had 7 points, and towards the end of the third quarter.
I know there will be people that try to tell you, Travis, that they don't believe in momentum, and they're stupid. Okay, here's what I'm saying: if they score, the Dolphins are deflated, and they're not running the same scheme. And matter of fact, they're even fighting more desperately. The Jags might even dare them to run the football and let that clock run, and they won't. And I think Tua would throw into a mistake of his own at that point because of the pressure he was facing. It completely changed the makeup of the football game.
I guess I'm stupid because I don't believe in momentum.
But ain't you stupid? I'm sorry.
I can tell you exact ways that could all go differently. Like if the Jaguars get the stop, it's not momentum. If they don't get the stop, then it's momentum. Well, then that ain't nothing. That just every play is play by play. I can tell you schematic reasons why things happen, and that has nothing to do with building or quicksand or whatever you want to call it. That's just superstitions, witchcraft, Salem witch trials in football. I don't believe in that. So I'm sorry. So that's just me personally. But at the end of all of it, man, don't turn the ball over. We set that going into the game. Run the ball, control the clock. The Jaguars did a great job of that in the first half, even when they had some 3-and-outs. And then they just got way too many 3-and-outs, like dropping the ball. Christian Kirk, 2 third-down drops, both that would have been first downs. One was a lot more difficult.
One of them was more difficult in his hands, unquestionably. Now, granted, they did end up getting the ball back after that, and that set up the 14-0. So
you're still in field goal range on one of them, and you were at around the 50-yard line on the other one. Instead, you end up punting the ball away. Again, that's 3 more points. I mean, again, points left on the board. You can't have drops. You can't have turnovers. You have to play a cleaner game. And unfortunately, the one turnover and the drops end up coming to loom the team. The questionable coaching call. You know, the 3rd and 1, Tank Bigsby playing fullback attempt. And
but here's my whole thing. I'm going to stop you right there. We spent the entire week talking about the weakness of the interior line, and Calais Campbell made you look stupid literally from play one, and you still tried that? No, that is a coaching failure. I am not a guy that says, oh, the playing calling was bad. No, that play call in particular, for the actual reasons I listed out, not just using the words play calling, because I don't know what actually goes on in the game. I'm not Emmanuel Acho. I know what I'm criticizing. I said what I said, Travis Holmes. I hated that play call for moment.
So it's not play calling, it's that series of play calls.
It's
those specific
play call. Yes.
Well, I'm calling those too. I don't know what you're telling. I think it's that one and the 4th down play, because you try to run it to the outside.
I didn't like the risk, period.
It's the same general. I didn't like the risk. I didn't like the play call, because the play call was very similar to the Chargers play call, because you're trying to beat them to the edge because you don't have confidence that you can run in the middle. Where does that sound come from?
Well, moreover,
that's why that happens.
And they know you don't, because they realize they just beat you there too. So you play right into their hands. I agree with you from all that. If you want to, okay, you sold me. Both those play calls sucked. Next question.
Listen, you just gave Trevor Lawrence 275 million babies, man, and you tell me you can't give that dude the ball if you're going to go for it? Give it to your quarterback.
I mean, a quarterback sneak would be interesting. They refuse to do it. We've been over that.
I'm not even saying it got to be that. I don't care if you throw the ball on 3rd and 4th and 1. At that point.
I mean, you got a brand new center. What are we doing here? But listen, or maybe that's how much they lack in the interior line. They don't think diving away from Calais can get the 1st down on a quarterback sneak. I don't know. But let me add this too, something that we're dancing around that we haven't talked about yet. The reason why the offense won't be let off the hook, though you were inclined to be critical of certain defensive things. 6 straight scoreless drives to wrap this piece up. You give me something, the Jags probably still win this game.
That's what I'm saying. And again, the second, when you happen one of the drops being in field goal range, you just give me a field goal. You keep this thing close. You make Miami play this thing differently. And you didn't. And again, it sucks to say, like, you'd want to blame it on the quarterback because it makes people feel good. And I'm able to say that adequately. Like, I know people want to put that on a quarterback, and you box score watch, you see he has less than 200 yards of passing, but that's what they wanted to do. Remember who they're playing against.
Correct.
They wanted to control the ball, to control the clock, to let their defense get rest, to not give Miami all these opportunities to score. You wanted to run the ball. You wanted to keep these matriculating down the field. And you got to catch the ball. You also, Trevor, though, I will acknowledge this. Those two sacks on with less than 4 minutes left in the game. And you get the ball back. You take a sack, and then you take another sack. You end up losing 10 yards on those 3 plays where you're just holding the ball. You got to make a decision. You got to get that ball out to one of these guys. And I know I haven't seen the all 22 to be like, all right, this guy's open versus that guy's open, but you also can't take the sacks, man. Like, they were over 2.5, 3 seconds.
Wouldn't you say they were in there pretty? Like, the first sack, I can make the argument that maybe he should have come up with something. I don't agree, but fine, I'll give you that.
The second sack was longer than the first.
That's not what I remember seeing. Granted, like, this is both of us having an reaction, so maybe I had that wrong, or maybe you're just as wrong about that as you are about momentum. We don't know yet. No, but listen, all I'm saying is the third one, the third. It wasn't 3 sacks. The first one was a TFL. That's what it is. So they had the TFL, the first sack, and the second one. It wasn't so much that it was fast. Let me put it that way. But he was definitely blindsided on that. He trusted his protection, and it failed him. I can't put that on Trevor.
Well, yeah, but you can trust your protection, but you have to trust the game call, the play call. And the play call says you're going to have, this is what we're scheming for. You're going to have, 3-4 seconds is probably the maximum in most NFL offenses. Hey, it's not about trusting your offense. I fully understand that. It's about saying, my alarm has to be going off. I got to get this ball away because I can live to fight another down. That's hero ball. And that's what would generally get you in trouble. I'm happy he didn't throw the pick, but that sack was equally damaging. That's all that I'm getting at.
You're third and super deep.
I'm talking the second down sack. I'm sorry. I'm talking second down specifically.
I'm on to the last one. Yeah, the second.
The last one is what it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you got to try to make a play. I actually agree because the first one was a TFL, right? The second one was the sack, and I agree with you. That one was slower. Perhaps again, I'll even give you that. Maybe he should have been able to get rid of it. But listen, for me, I'm sorry. I know the people who don't know ball are going to be all up on Trevor's case, but you, being the ball knower that you are, I'm not prepared to blame Trevor for this loss any more than you.
This was the game scheme wise. This was the game that the Jaguars coaching staff wanted. You could see it all over it. They wanted to play that smash mouth. They almost Baltimore Ravens-ish kind of offense, like a kind of game plan. I want to control the clock. I want to control the ball. I want to make sure I keep it out of their hands, and I want to just like matriculate down the field. It doesn't even have to be all these explosive plays. We can do that, but they didn't show it as much in this game, and that's what makes people go crazy because it's a loss. It's a loss, and you didn't show those things, and we have all these nitpicky things, and that's gonna be 100. Let's keep it 100. These are nitpicky things. The only big thing that we've complained about so far is Travis Etienne can't fumble the ball at the 3-yard line.
Yeah, listen, for all the game one issues that you and I said will probably happen, I may have gotten the correct pick and may be able to make fun of you out on the ledge where you apparently are the only person in the tri-state area, he said jokingly, on a digital tri-state area that actually picked the Jags to win the football game. I'd make the argument you picked it right. There's just a lot of things, self-inflicted wounds, again, something that seems to plague this team. I'll put it this way. If I start cutting hair, I'm going to sound like Wig too. Self-inflicted wounds. Like, listen, that's the whole thing. By the way, shouts to
man. But it's the thing that the receiver that everyone thought would probably have the most targets and most receptions for this Jaguars offense ended up having the most drops this game. Who would have thought? The running back who we thought was going to have the most yards in this game had the only turnover, and it was at a critical moment. Who would have thought?
Let me stop you there. I think the guy we thought would have the most yards might have been BTJ possibly, but that being said, well, you may not have. You believe
not week one. Not week one. Yeah, not week one.
I haven't believed in Jalen Ramsey in a long time. So
no, it wasn't me versus Ramsey. I just thought I just didn't know what he was going to do week one.
That's the main point of this.
Yeah, I said Jalen was going to give up a 70-yard touchdown to BTJ before the game. When as soon as Ian Rappaport starts putting out these owners, these general manager, I don't even know what to call them, underhand messages, the railroad messages he's putting out for these GMs. He's carrying water, bro. Hamstring issues. He's going to try to play. He's going to be on a snap count. Man, calm down, bro. You know what this is.
Let's be clear about one thing. We're talking about BTJ. The guy we definitely didn't have on the bingo card for leading the team in reception yards was one Gabe Davis. But I thought he was so overpaid.
Let's go. 20 yards a catch, man. 20 yards a catch.
No touchdowns, though. That's going to hurt his 1 in 6 catches, 1 in 11 targets for a touchdown average, unfortunately.
Well, it's so funny, though, dude. Like, again, 3 catches on 3 targets for Gabe Davis, 4 catches on 4 targets for Brian Thomas Jr. Like, the sore thumb that unfortunately sticks out and you hate for it sticking out is Christian Kirk. 1 catch on 4 targets. He is literally the one that wasn't 100 for 100. Like, that's sucks. Because, again, that's the guy you lean on. That's the guy who's BFFs with the quarterback. That's the guy who catches everything, Yeah.
By the way, for those who are saying, Evan Ingram disappeared, when the running was successful, his blocking was a big part of that. I that's something that doesn't make the stat sheet, but I think it has to be worth mention. Certainly, I think it was part of the drive that led to the Jags' first score where Trevor had to run to convert a third down. Evan Ingram's block was essential in that too. So again, that's doing things
fair.
You got
that's fair. But no, Evan Ingram also had 4 targets and 1 catch. If I'm going to keep it level.
But you feel like those were drops, though? I felt like those were things where he was targeted in desperation. I don't feel like
I wanted him to catch that third down, that 3rd and 5, and that the Miami safety got his it was like right bam. It's a hard catch, but I really want you got to get that, man, because my brother-in-law literally texted me 5 minutes before that. Hey, man. Tell Trevor to tell Ingram to because fantasy purposes, give him the ball. And he immediately throws to him and it's incompletion. And I'm like,
I hear that. I think that ball was a little behind too. Granted, I think Trevor might have been under duress. I'm not going to be like the rest of the public who assumes that a quarterback misses a pass, even though they have talented defensive lineman bearing down on them like the national media has incorrectly done to Lamar Demetrius Jackson. But that's a whole other question and a whole other
want perfection. They expect perfection because these guys make $200 million, $300
But yet we don't talk about Patrick LaVon Mahomes II throwing an interception in the game where Lamar Demetrius Jackson did not. But again, enough about that Thursday night game, as compelling as it was to start the season. You know, I mean, I know we were going to dip our toe in it for a minute.
Yeah. But, hey, shout out Trevon Walker. Shout out Eric Armstead. Hey,
yes.
man, we found some interior pressure.
We talked about this earlier on the Duval dive here about the concept that Josh Hines-Allen might get fewer sack numbers at the expense of other dudes taking care of business. I think we saw that today.
And this is against, again, the quick strike Miami offense who's trying to get the ball out quickly. So that's going to make it even harder for you to get those sacks. Walker ends up getting 2 sacks by his, by the shoestring on one of them. Armstead is just bowling over dudes. Well, actually, I'll take that back. Walker on the shoestring tackle was hilarious. I don't know if you've seen it, but we gotta put it in the article. But I'm just like, he's bowling over one of the guys, other guy hanging off of him, still gets the shoestring sack. Like, I gotta give him all the credit on that because you can't argue that he was helped by somebody else. You can't argue it was anything but that dude in the weight room. Like, great job.
By the way, the article in question. The article in question being on BigCatCountry.com. Come on,
it'll be up in like 10 minutes, man. Right after we're done here.
Same here, man. Listen, I'm about ready to drop mine on Fans First Sports Network. It's going to be fun. We got plenty of fun things to say, even though it was a Saturday for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But again, some of us see this team going 0-1 and still competing for a playoff spot. I'm just throwing that out there, Travis. By the way,
right.
Looking at the rest of the AFC South, only one team won a game by a measly 2 points over another team in this division. The AFC South is going to be a dogfight, Travis Holmes.
I won't lie. I didn't pay attention to any other game. I have no idea which one we won.
I just looked it out the corner of my eye. Listen, all I'm saying is a Colts team that constantly struggles in week 1, who's supposed to be this a lower class team compared to the alleged hand them the crown Houston Texans, who are a Super Bowl contender, only beating the lowly Colts by 2. Fascinating stuff. I mean, sure, the mayonnaise Messiah doing mayonnaise Messiah things and losing to the Bears, no surprise there. I don't have to watch that game to know that was going to happen. But yeah,
I thought they were up by like 17-0 or something.
Yeah, the mayonnaise Messiah threw a pick 6.
I feel better already. Thank you, dog. Oh, that's great.
General Mike Patton. Anyway,
that is great. Thank you for being who you are, Will Levis. You just made my day, even if they lost, even if my team lost.
Hey, just don't drink any coffee. Anyway, Travis Holmes, we're hitting that half-hour mark. If there are any final points you have to make here with your instant reaction, I do so now.
Man, Duval. We know that it's not the opinion we all wanted, and I'm not the one that's going to make you feel better because, frankly, I'm the guy who's also probably equally pissed off with you. But there's a lot of good to take from that first half. Over the scope of the game, there's a lot of good to take from that defense. And hopefully the offense will kind of get it together as far as being more explosive in that passing game and also just curing all of those small issues, ball security, obviously, and taking sacks, at the wrong time, things of that nature. But keep your head up. We got Cleveland on deck next week, and yeah, maybe we can get a win there and start this thing off solid at home.
Yeah, the home opener is an opportunity to make it 1-1, and which I think at the moment you and I might be relatively confident in. We'll do more analysis, of course, this coming Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern here on the Duval Dive. That should be fun. So, Travis Holmes, tell the world.
Oh, you can find me on all the socials. Travis D. Holmes, right over here, somewhere over here. Yeah, you see it. There you go. Yeah, I'll find my writings covering the Jaguars on BigCatCountry.com. All breaking news, press conferences, analysis of the game, like what's going up. And if you're watching this already, and it's not live, it's already up. Go to Big Cat Country, save it as your favorites, check out the writings. And if you're already listening to me here, we will have the Duval Dive post-game recaps right after the game, just like you're listening to, but also we have the episodes on Wednesdays at 7:30. Where can you be found, sir?
Hey, there you done across the board. By the way, there'll be more instant reactions. Hopefully technology does not rear its ugly head again next week after the Browns game. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the student of the game. Check out my writings on Fans First Sports Network website there on the Jaguar page. And then also check out my work with the Black and Gold Banneret, where I was out there last night covering UCF beating Sam Houston State in their final tune-up, watching another fan base lose their mind. Hey, listen, even you felt a little better about KJ Jefferson after that game, I'm sure.
Yeah.
With all that in mind, Monday night, of course, is when I record the Night Shift podcast that will play out on Tuesday. Then, of course, mentioned 7:30 Wednesday for the Duval Dive, as well as 9 o'clock for the student of the game. And you may see me 8:30 at Huddle Up on Tuesday, by the way. And then after the UCF game, the instant reaction there from the Night Shift podcast live for UCF going to TCU for their first Big 12 test. Make sure you check that out. We're in full swing, man. I got to make sure. I got to remember to talk about this. Got to remember to talk about. We haven't been talking about basketball yet. Good gracious, Travis. Anyways, an honor, joy, and privilege to have you aboard for Travis Holmes. I am Kyle Nash, student of the game. Until next time, everyone. Class dismissed.